Okay, we're going live. I've gotten myself rather mixed up here, so I'm going to get this stuff out of the way so that we can do our on the air later. Let's see, we're going to need that. Oh, I wanted to bring that. Let's see. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening and good afternoon and good morning to Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of our Thursday night live stream. And it is very good to see you all here. I had a very interesting day. And I got this from its creators, Golden Mate. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery, 20 amp hours. The thing's quite light. I was going to put the radio on it for tonight to test, but I'm going to be doing that in the future here, so we'll have that all set up. I do have one bit of sad news. I got an email this morning from Bob Smith, N0OM. He says, I'm very sorry to have to share this with you. Perhaps you have your own connections, but Tim Cardy, AD0SE, Tim Cardy, Dr. Tim Cardy, who is the guy responsible for all those, I've got one right here. This is an EMP shield. This is a lightning arrestor, except that it actually will short to ground within a nanosecond, which is early enough and strong enough to protect your equipment from electromagnetic pulse. And I'm going to be installing this one here so it doesn't get to my radio. I had quite a conversation with him. He was very understanding. He sent me a bunch of stuff, and he passed away. It says he was admitted to the ER 2 nights ago with heart trouble. He was back home with family when he left us. So it was very sudden, very unexpected. Those of you who go to EMP Shield's website and buy one of these, and they are rather pricey, I'll admit that. If you use discount code KE0OG, you'll get a break on them. I'll get a finder's fee for it, but if you look at these things and want to buy them, the discount code KE0OG, I think applies across their entire line. Okay, so that is a little piece of sad news. A little piece of better news is that we have decided to go back into RVing. We found one that is, in all the important ways, similar to the one we had, but without dealing with slides and levelers and stuff like that. So it greatly reduces the complexity of the unit, also greatly reduces the price. And so we picked that up on Saturday. So now that makes Dayton a possibility. I will do it one of two ways. I'll go with my wife, and it takes four and a half days driving to get there. And then I'll attend that while she's attending to art galleries and other festivals. And I may hit the Air Force Museum again this time. Last time we were there, which was 2 years ago, we went up to Kirtland, Ohio, to see the original Mormon temple. Now that was organized or was owned by the Community of Christ, which is the new name for the old Reformed Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And they have owned that temple and a lot of stuff there. And very recently, like in the last month, the Mormon Church out of Salt Lake City has agreed with the Community of Christ to purchase all those assets and to maintain them and so on. One thing I noticed that was different when I was there, the Mormon church, you can always tell when you're on a Mormon property by the gardening. Lots of little flowers all over everywhere in nice little rows. I was even surprised when I went to the Carthage jail where Joseph Smith was murdered, that they had all these little rows of flowers taking me up into this place where the prophet was murdered. And it just seemed incongruous to me. The two didn't go together. But the landscaping at the Kirtland Temple is very different. Large plants with big sweeps, beautiful flowering bushes, and rather than just little, low to the ground kinds of things. And I was very impressed. I was also very impressed by how committed these people were to maintaining this beautiful structure. And I guess this is goodness. It was a mutual agreement between the two so that there will always be funding to maintain this historic site. But anyway, that's also very new. So we got the RV. We picked that up Saturday, which means Dayton is a possibility. And the KOA we stayed at last time we were there 2 years ago, the Dayton KOA, is actually out west of Dayton. So it's a bit of a drive to get to the Xenia Fairgrounds. One thing I've noticed all the time we've been RVing, RV parks are away from the cities. It's rare to find an RV park in a city. The cities don't want them, I guess. One of the things that happens in RV parks is you start to get permanent residents, and they often let their equipment degrade. And so I can understand why they wouldn't want that. And I've seen some truly awful RV parks. You should look at the one in, it's a town just south of Price, Utah there. It is almost all permanent party there. I rented a spot overnight for a very low price, like 20 bucks or something. Normally it's more like 60. But anyway, this Dayton RV Park is to the west of Dayton in a beautiful wooded area. And they said that they've had some damage to the park, and I can only assume that would be via fire. Although it could also have been due to flood, because that area back there has really been inundated. The weather patterns seem to be changing, so I don't know what we might run into in the way of weather on our way there. So anyway, we got that. I got this battery to test. I've got still that TID radio that I got halfway through testing and got badly distracted. So now I need to go back and figure out where I was. The point I got distracted was at the point where I'm going to program it, and as it turns out, you can program it from a screen on your phone, and you can also program it from your computer, because the phone connects through TID Radio's link to a website where you can get things going. I was doing really well on that, and then I did something wrong and lost everything. So I said, well, that won't do. I'm obviously doing something wrong. So we'll try that. Another interesting little thing that happened today is I got an email. The normal guy who reviews my, well, first of all, in my contract with the league, I insisted that there be peer review. I wanted peer review. I did not want anything going out without an expert looking at it. And usually they use KE0OG, but his computer is down, so they brought in somebody else. And I didn't know this guy. It turns out his background is transmission lines. His whole career he's worked transmission lines. And it was a question about transmission lines. And he caught an error that I did not. And the error that he caught, although he didn't know that this was the error, but he caught the fact that what I came out with was wrong. SWR is a scalar. Now that means it's just a number. Just a number. Okay, it's actually a ratio, but just a number. And it takes impedance, which is complex. I mean, it has a real part and a imaginary part, or you can look at it as a magnitude and a phase angle. And it is possible that when you connect a piece of coax to something, you'll get quite an impedance change. Now the impedance change is the magnitude and the phase angle. But if you look in the equation for SWR, it has absolute values on it. The absolute value means ignore the phase angle and just give the magnitude. And the magnitude, like if you have 3 plus J4, the magnitude is 5. Okay, now he pointed out that it doesn't matter where that 5 points. It's only a 5 in the SWR equation. So that was the thing I had missed. And he sent me a key phrase that made me go, aha, now I know where I made the error. So I've asked the league to pull that question for the May issue. We'll try again in June. I'll try and get it right. John suggested a rewrite, but it was very much not in my style. So I thought I would say, you know, I send in 4 questions. They only used 2. Take that second one out, put another one in, and we'll fix it in June. So that was actually very interesting for me. It's been a long time since I've really had an opportunity to think about electric fields in this way. I mean, most of what I learned it at the engineering level, and the ham radio level is inching in that direction. When I was first testing for general and advanced, that was when advanced was the difficult test. That was 40 years ago, 45 years ago. There was absolutely nothing in there about complex numbers, nothing. And they talked about reactance, and they talked about resistance, but they never, the books, the league books, never said anything about combining them and what it looked like when you combined them. So today I had the chance to scratch the engineer itch. John was very patient and walked me through it, and there was just a little key phrase in there that triggered the old memory here. Those old gray cells from 40 years ago that said, wake up. And so I looked at that and, okay, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I had the wrong answer. But I want to make this my column. I want to kind of make it right. And we'll do it in June and put another question in for this month. So we'll see if that actually happens. I hope we have time for that. That'd be great. So, the other big deal that's going on out here in Colorado is the snowstorm. The snowstorm of this century. Actually, it's not. It's we tried to go over to my son's graduation at CU in Boulder and got stuck halfway because the great Denver blizzard came through and dropped 2 feet of snow. 2 feet of snow. And we never got there. We saw him on TV because we were able to get online on the CU website, and they were live casting the graduation ceremonies, and I happened to see him over in one corner there. He wasn't going to attend his graduation ceremony, but I says, John, you get exactly 1 chance to do this. Don't do what I did. When I got my master's degree, I failed to attend commencement. And, when I did commencement for my bachelor's degree, there was a certain air of finality to it, a capstone on what had happened. And when I skipped the one for California State University Northridge for my master's, it was not mandatory. And I should have gone. I really should have. It makes my master's degree seem a little incomplete. I was coughing an awful lot last week because I had a horrible, it's a kind of an asthma thing. And it's just weird. I'll get over it. Okay, Von Ziegel has added $10 to the chat revenue, and I very, very much appreciate that. It really helps. One thing else that helps, and I would encourage you to encourage others to do this, a lot of people watch a lot of YouTube without subscribing, and I'll admit I do that too. I have my favorite YouTubers, and I subscribe by and large to their channels, but I don't subscribe as much as I should. It doesn't hurt anything to subscribe. If you subscribe, that does not mean you're going to get inundated with messages. It just gives YouTube a vote of confidence in the channel. So if you could encourage others to subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Now the next step, these buttons are all worn out on this shirt. I gotta do something about it. Bigger buttons or something. If people will click the bell, then they will get notifications of things like live streams and new videos. And if I put up a text comment, I can do that too. They've got a name for that. And, if you do that, it really helps the channel. And your contributions, no, I can't use the word contribution. This is not a charity. Support. Your financial support is extremely important. I've been really pushing Patreon. If you go to Patreon, because it's so easy for you, and it's also very easy for me. And so I can actually address all patrons at once if I need to. And the tiers are $2, $5, $10, and $20. The $20 is the Quark level, the top level. We've got a few at that rate, and I really appreciate that. But all the 2s, 5s, and 10s I really appreciate too. That's not very much, and Patreon has come out with a new thing where you can do it at a discount if you do a whole year at a time. And that is very, very, very nice indeed. It helps to, keep the camera equipment going, keep the sound equipment going, keep the internet going, and all of those things like that, and also provides support so I can do things like go to Dayton. And I am going to be going to the Albuquerque show. The Duke City Hamfest is on this year. It was off for the pandemic, and during that period of time, they lost their venue. They no longer had that slot at that Indian Nation. I know we're supposed to say Native Americans, but they call themselves Indians. At that casino down there, it's going to be up at a place with a big hall that's real close to the intersection of I-40 and I-25. And then they're going to do the banquets and stuff like that at a hotel just north of there. So it's a sort of a hybrid venue. And I'm very excited to go there again. I've been twice, and I think I may volunteer to speak again. I am also going to be at the Flagstaff Hamfest. Now, the Flagstaff Hamfest, which is in a small number of months, is truly going to be fun. I mean, it's just a single-day Hamfest, but I can get to Flagstaff in a day. I can't quite get to Phoenix or Quartzsite in a day, but I can get to Flagstaff in a day. So I'll be down there either with my wife, myself, or there's another possibility to see if my YouTube assistant, who is now over 18, if he wants to accompany me down there and help with the driving and things like that. So, well, I'm going to get out more this year. I will be at Pacificon. Next year I will be at Quartz Fest, as long as the weather isn't as bad as it was this year. I mean, those people couldn't believe it. They were holding Quartz Fest, which entirely is an outdoor thing. It was kind of wet and muddy. Thanks to the atmospheric rivers that hit California. They went over the mountain. I mean, that wind has got to go somewhere. So as it goes up over the Sierras, it drops most of its moisture. The wind will then continue on over, and there won't be that much moisture in the wind. The wind pretty well dries out when it does that. But it didn't quite drop all of its moisture, and so the east side of the Sierra Nevada and the Tehachapis got kind of mushy there for a while. So that was an interesting way of looking at it. Excuse me for just a minute. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have going on? I talked about Tim Cardy passing away, which was truly sad. I mean, he wasn't, well, I'm 72. He was nowhere near my age. Okay. He was very personable, extremely knowledgeable, and very, very good at explaining things to what I'd call the scientific American level. The way they do their magazine is they assume that you're intelligent and pretty well informed, but that you'd like a little more information on the subject at hand. And so they are addressing you not as a blithering idiot, like TV commercials do, but they are addressing you as somebody who's pretty sharp, pretty much got it together, but just wants to know a little bit more about this subject. And I've tried to take that approach kind of in my videos. I don't know of any blithering idiot that's in ham radio, so I just assume that people are not, that they can take what they need to take from yeah, whatever. Okay. Now, we need to address these comments here. Okay, Optical Man Jeff, hi all, and August from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it is 55 degrees and cloudy. It is 33 degrees here, 91% relative humidity. But I don't know, it's weird because the dew point is only 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The difference between 30 and 91 is quite large. So you wouldn't expect much cloud formation. Of the snow that we got, it was heavy, wet snow. So it melted in the rain collector. Got 0.12 inches of melt out of that, and the barometer is 30.07 and rising. So I think tomorrow's going to be a nice day. If it's a really nice day, maybe I can go flying. I got my airplane started, figured out how to start it, and all that. It took several guys in the HBO or FBO to figure that out. and get that thing to start. And it starts, you know, and I tried their method. It's sort of a, you know, lick one finger, stick it outside, find where the phase of the moon is, and point that at the sun, and then press start. But it does work, so we'll get that going. Bill Myers, KA8, oops, what do we got here? Aiden Jakeman. Oh, I know what that means. He's not going to be coming tomorrow. Oh, Aiden has got his mission call for the Mormon Church. He's going to open it on Saturday. All right. This is wonderful. This is a big, hairy deal for Mormon youth. Young men are expected to go on missions for 2 years for the church, and young women are invited. And I've met a lot of young women missionaries for the church, and by and large, my impression has been they're better prepared than a lot of the young men. And, you know, I meet most of them because they're always coming by the members' houses and stuff like that. Some of them are just really sharp. One guy that is one of our current missionaries, the missionaries came down to help do some maintenance on the hex beam, because the doggone thing's heavy, and it takes a few people to bring the thing over so I could try and repair what was broken on it. And the one guy is extremely sharp intellectually. The other guy I thought was kind of ordinary, but he grabbed a hold of a pole and started moving wires around on that thing and successfully untangling them. This is with a 10-foot pole. Untangling them and getting them in the right places. And I'm going, I don't know that I've ever seen a young man with such innate ability in mechanical ideas, with things like that. He just really blew me away. I never would have thought of that. Of course, I'm an electrical engineer, not mechanical. But he just had this mechanical intuition that was fantastic. So I really appreciate it, and I told him so, too. Okay, let's see. Lefty, good evening, Dave and Augie's worldwide. 50 degrees in Davenport, that's Iowa, and very windy, yes. We've had a lot of wind here. It's March, it's windy. Some people say if they visit us this time of year, why don't you have a windmill up? Capture some of this energy. And that is because it's only windy in March. So it doesn't matter. They say the wind ceases when the snow melts on Horsefly, which is actually a mountain I can see just right out my window here. And it is up in the, it's in the tundra up there. And that's usually a pretty good estimate. If there's no more snow there, it's not windy. So, very good. Okay, Ralph Leland says, hi, Dave and everybody. K4TA in Fork Union, Virginia, 70 degrees there. And Chuck Schreiber says, good evening, Dave and all Augies. And 5 KVO from the hill country of South Texas. Cloudy and 72. Chip Weekly, W3BEW. Top of the evening to Dave and the rest of the Augies from the Great Smoky Mountains of western North Carolina. 63 degrees and clear. Jeff, hello from the Child Country. TEVE3NVY. Well, it's interesting to know, Jeff, that the question I got that got me all tangled up was from a Canadian. So we'll get that figured out. Mark Leathers says, hey, Dave. Phil Lamb, couple in Colorado. What is your opinion of the MFJ 1775? Well, let's find out what it is. Okay. We're going to go to MFJ. Oops, I got to go here. Then we go here. MFJ hyphen 175. 77 MFJ 1775 rotatable dipole. And here it is. So it's shortened. It doesn't have loading here, but it has capacity hats out here. Okay, so that shortens. It's 7-foot turning radius. So from here, the end, to the center is 7 feet. So it's 14 feet across. 14-foot rotatable dipole. Now, because it is shortened like this, with loading, well, it's not like capacitive loading at the end, which is the same thing as inductive loading in the middle. Okay. Now, the way this thing is working right here and set up, you'll have very few losses. And in fact, what you're going to find with that antenna, it will be a compromise antenna. Now, here's the compromise. The bandwidth will be less. It will not cover the whole band, probably of any of the bands that it's on. So you're going to have to do the tuning on that to tune it for the part of the band that you want. Okay? Now, this is a big choice on 80 meters because no conventional dipole will cover all of 80 meters. You can tune it for the low end. Now, this isn't 80, but it does 40. You can tune it for the low end where FT8 is, or you can tune it for the higher end where the single sideband is. Now, that's the problem with having a somewhat narrower bandwidth on one of these antennas. But otherwise, I think you should be able to do it without a problem. It's got 40, 20, 15, 10, 6, and 2. And you can, of course, since it's not having any loading coils that actually has to carry current, run full 1500 watts on this. Do I recommend it? It's a multiband antenna. It's a dipole. The optimum height for this is still a half wavelength on each band. Well, you can't have it at a half wavelength on all the bands. Plus, the thing is designed for stealth. Note that it is up here. You're looking up here at this right here. Note how it's connected just straight out to the two ends. There's no balun there. So you can either put a coil if you want a balun, or you can put a 1-to-1 unun there if you want. No, not unun. It'd be balun, balanced to unbalanced. Okay. And let's see, separate efficient end loading coil wound. These are capacity. Oh yeah, it does say capacitance hat. On fiberglass forms with Teflon wire. Okay. 6 and 2 meters or full-length half-wave dipoles. I don't know how they come up with that, but it will definitely work on 6 and 2. Now, this means that this would be a good antenna for something like the FT991B. So that would be a good match for it. Now, you could also use it on like a 7300, which would give you 40 through 6. Okay. Now, rotatable dipole. Do you need to rotate it? I'm going to see, it says it's rotatable. That means you can add a rotator to it. And the thing is that a real dipole, as opposed to a theoretical dipole, is a bit more unidirectional than they are given credit for. So, yes, they do. There is a bit of directionality to it. I'm not sure it's enough to pay for a rotator, but you can get the cheapest rotator they have, like the one I have, which is a high gain high gain. It's the cheapest high gain they've got. I think it was $180. Let's see what it is now. Rotator. Okay. It's a rotor potentiometer. AR500 rotator. VHF, VHF, beam. Okay, this would work for that. For some reason, it's got a remote control. This is actually a channel master. And they have literally just put the MFJ label over the top of the channel master label. Okay, it's $200. So you're going to add $200 to the $400 here, so you're up to $600. Now they have a new antenna, a vertical that's less than 20 feet high. That's ground mounted and requires radials, but Richard Stubbs has indicated to me that MFJ will be sending one of these to me for review, and that'll be coming fairly soon. Okay, so let's go back to the live stream here to normal view, and here we are. Okay, now they've come out with a new antenna. I've got to get the latest QST, which just came out electronically. This is a new antenna for MFJ. Let's go to screen. I can never remember how to get to it. ARRL, QST. Okay, yeah, thank you. QST, click, click, click. And here is the, now you gotta log in again. Steve, Good Game tells me he has not been able to get this to work with a single logon. Okay, now, I'm going to move this up. Nope, that's not what I want to move up. I'm going to move this up. Okay, and now we're going to go into the magazine. Whoops, went right by it. Here, new antenna. Now, MFJ owns Cushcraft, okay? So it's Cushcraft Hotel Victor -4 Echo. This is 40, 20, 15, and 10 low profile, meaning highly loaded, vertical antenna. And you'll note what the loading is in here. It's these capacitor elements, these active capacitors on here in the middle of it. And it'll work 1200 watts, single sideband, and that would be probably without compression. Okay, I'd drop that if you were compressing a lot. But I don't know why you'd use that much power on such a small antenna. You want to get a better antenna first. But look, the price is reasonable. It does not need to be rotated. You will need to add radials. There's a little kit here for $50. Good grief. Well, it says 200 feet of weather-resistant insulated wire. You can get that from Home Depot for about the same. Okay, so you're going to have to put in some radials. And that means there's going to have to be a stick in the ground, or, you know, probably a piece of steel pipe about 3 or 4 feet long. Dig as deep a hole as you have energy for. Put the whole thing in, holding it upright, and guy it, and then put the dirt in around the bottom. Okay, this is less than 20 feet high. So this is actually less than my super duper do it quick mast, and these are down low. So it will be essentially invisible from the front of the house because it's not as high as the house. Or if you live back east, anywhere on the East Coast, where there are a lot of trees, you can stick this next to or into a tree. And you still have to do the radials, but it can still be a good antenna and practically invisible. So I just want to be among the first to let you know about this new MFJ or Cushcraft product, HF4E, and one is coming my way to for testing. and we'll find out what the compromises really are on this antenna, if there are any on this antenna. Okay, so we got that, got that. So I hope that answers your question. What do I think of it? It would work. It seems like kind of an expensive solution, but it would work, yes. Glenn Martin, hello from the far west Missouri area, N0QFT. W1JGM, John, hello Dave. Chuck Morris, Chuck W7HDF, checking in from Clackamas, Oregon. Your podcasts are great. Well, thank you very much. I really do try. We actually are out all the way pretty much to the end of the month with stuff. Now what we're doing is we've got all these simple videos where we're just answering a question, and maybe I can do it on the whiteboard. But when it comes to reviews of things like this, when it comes to reviews of things like that, we try to pull those in. So it may push some of the other stuff out. And, you know, sometimes I'll promise somebody a video's on such and such a day, and then it turns out not to be. So sorry about that. Okay. Philam couple in Colorado. Do you mean Filipino-American? I don't think so. I'm looking at the picture there. W0JFK. Cold country, not child. There we go. I was thinking you were referring to piece of Canada as child country, and I'm going, okay, that very well could be, but that's not a designation I've heard. You know, there's all kinds of designations for various parts of the U.S. We are in a part of Colorado called the Western Slope. And that's the western slope of the Rocky Mountains. That way, literally, now I'm facing south, to the east are the Rockies. To the west is canyon country. And it's an area of the United States where the Pacific tectonic plate got outracing the main plate that was pushing up the Rocky Mountains. At first the plates moved together, pushed up the Rockies. Then this one over here kind of started moving away, and it created a whole bunch of cracks in there. And they're all vertical like this because it had been stretched this way. And we call it basin and range because, like the Great Salt Lake, there is no exit to the sea. I mean, if that water were exiting to the sea, the people in Salt Lake City would be many hundreds of feet underwater. So you've got this whole area of the West, most of Nevada, that's called the Basin and Range. And it is an area where in every valley there's a dry lake because the water will come down in the rainy season and then just sink there. It won't go anywhere. There's nowhere for it to go. So you get these alkali flats out there, and they're flat as a pancake. Now, what some stupid people do is they go out there in their great big trucks, you know, that they've modified to give smelly exhaust every time they hit the accelerator. And they go screwing around in the mud out there. And then it will be like that for years to come. And so, yes, it's illegal, but, you know, I think the police think they've got more important things to do. So, if it is really smooth, it makes for a great airplane landing area. You can go out and land on these dry lakes when they're dry. Now, when I was getting my license, my sport pilot license, one of the things you have to do is the instructor shuts the engine to idle. It's not the same thing as turning it off. The propeller's still spinning. But he turns it to idle. And he says, what are you going to do? Where are you going to land? And the classic answer for that particular area is on a particular dry lake. You can just go there and land and not have any problems at all. Complete dead stick landing. But we had been having quite a bit of rain, so the dry lake was not dry. So I said, we're not going to the dry lake. And I says, I don't think we're going to make it to Dayton Airport. So we're going to have to come down in the sagebrush down below us. He says, you're going to come down in the sagebrush? I says, yeah, it's going to be a little messy, but it's safer than trying that dry lake out there, and it's safer not getting to Dayton Airport. So that's what we did. He brought me down. He says, how about landing on that road right there? I says, there's wires. You see the wires? And I says, this field has nothing to stop us. We're going to land uphill. We're going to be okay. And then when we were about, 50 feet above the ground, he pull the thing for the power, and off we went. So anyway, it was kind of fun. So let me pull this down here. Okay. I gave my opinion of the MFJ 1775. Yes, it will work. It may be perfect for your situation. So do what you think about it. Glenn Martin, hello from Far West Missouri. W1JGM, hello Dave. Chuck Morris from Clackamas. Phil Lamb, Cold Country Nut Child. Charles Poor, hello from KI5ACS, and hello to you too. Eric Sund, hello Dave and fellow hams from, and I guess we'll pick that up, a Dolphins cruise in the South Padre. N0EZX, love your dedication, and I simply will not miss. Well, Eric, thank you very much. Okay, Mark French, hello. Joe Birdwell, hi alt, WB9 VVH. Glenn, hello Dave and Augies from KE2CAE in New York, where it is 55 and cloudy. That sounds like a new call sign to me in our Thursday evening meetings. Neil Marsh, good evening Dave and all. Paul Hopman, hello Dave from Central New York, where it is cloudy every day of the year. There are parts there, I think, Owego, New York. IBM had a big plant there, and they were famous for cloudy weather. They got about 30 days a year when there was at least a faint shadow. So they would call that a sunny day. Hello, Augies from KK7DTF. Is it safe to use an MFJ914 auto tuner extender with the FT710? The answer is yes, but let's just take a look at that one. This is the screen. So we'll go to MFJ. Let's see what that was again. MFJ 914. MFJ 914. Oh, good grief. I don't like their new website because it does this. MFJ, and what was that again? 914. Gotta have the hyphen in there. 914. Whoops. Auto tuner extender. Now, I have not seen this. Use with any transceiver up to 300 watts. Carefully designed for flattest frequency response. Antenna transmitter dummy load and a single knob. Okay. It's going to either put in more capacitance or more inductance, but you have to use this with your tuner in the radio. Is it okay? Yes. Yes, it is okay. Let's just see what the schematic is. Oh, it's just a bunch of inductance. It's going to add different amounts of inductance in here. Okay, not that much to it, but that will extend the range. And the way you will operate this is you'll put it on off and tune as best you can. And if it can't, if your rig won't tune, then you put it on A, try again. Won't tune, put it on B, try again, and so on. Yes, this will work. So, oops, what did I just do? I don't know. Okay, I hit a button wrong, and now it's come back with more of that. Pin message, report, remove, put user in timeout. I want that to go away. There we go. Okay. Let's see, I think we got Leo Gustafson from KK0OG, and about 50 degrees there. Good. Hi, Dave. Greetings to you and all the Augies from Brisbane, Australia, from Paul C. VK4DPC. It's always nice to hear from the Aussies during this. It's, I guess, sometime in the afternoon there. Hugo Quintana. Hello, Augies. Okay, he asked about the auto-tuner extender, and we thanked Von Ziegel earlier for his super chat from Don N6CD. Leo says, and I'm sorry I hit the wrong button. Leo said, Chris at BuddyPole got back to me, and I'm receiving the interconnects for the spreaders on my hex beam. Still struggling with the Innovato ham clock, though. That's a piece of software. I don't know. That software stuff is... sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't. Glenn Martin, we had an inch of rain here, much needed. Leo says, can't seem to get Wi-Fi from my Android phone to get it working. Been in touch with the kind folks there, but even this has them stumped. When you start going between the Apple and the Android ecosystems, things get weird. If you have an Apple computer, it's not going to like Android things. Now, a standard PC is a little bit less picky, but I've noticed that it seems to favor the Apple ecosystem a little bit more. Chris Goodman, K0BLU, hello Dave from St. Cloud, Minnesota, where it's 49 and partly cloudy. Leo Gustafson, MFJS, some very intriguing gear. Yeah, there is, everywhere is having trouble hiring people. And the migrants who have come into the U.S. are just now starting to get work permits. So that's going to help this problem with finding labor in the United States. It is a classic trope that the initial migrants take the low-level jobs in hopes of building a family whose children have greater chances. And that same thing is going to happen here. So that'll mean that, you know, Martin will be able to at least hire some workers. I mean, these people, they made it all the way from Venezuela to here on foot. These have got to be some pretty tough people. So, yeah, then we can finally start filling some of these vacancies that are everywhere. There's just a bunch of people already here who just do not want these jobs. And classically, they've been filled by migrants. And we got migrants now. We got a lot in Colorado, thanks to the governor of Texas, who just puts them on buses and sends them up here. The city has gone out of its way to help house these migrants, get them some legal aid and stuff like that. And that's great. That's good. We'll have enough people to fill all these jobs. You know, this is why Germany let a million Syrian migrants into Germany. A full million. Yeah, there's been some trouble. Sure there has. But the fact of the matter, Germany was shrinking. And its economy was expanding. And it had already passed the point where it couldn't fill its own jobs. And so, classically, How did we do this in the United States? The answer was waves and waves of migrants. There's, my own grandmother came to San Francisco from a German-speaking area of, was it Romania? It's changed countries since then a couple times. But she came to San Francisco from there in the early 1900s. So yeah, I'm children of migrants. And we all are in a sense, unless we're American Indians. And I guess if you push that back all the way a couple thousand years, they're migrants too. They came across the Bering Strait or whatever it is up there. So be that as it may. There we go. Okay. Okay, so buyer beware Jesus Freak 73 from Nova Scotia, Canada. 6 meter? No. Got 20, 40, 10, etc. Just no 6. Cornbread with the sunglasses, says attaboy Dave. Leo Gustafson, no repeater links in your area. For 6 meters, that is. 6 meter repeaters are available rarely. And this is the primary issue with these Japanese radios that are 4-band radios. They're 10, 6, 2, and 70 centimeters. Is that there are lots of repeaters on 2 meters. It's jammed. 440 has quite a number of repeaters. It's in many areas completely full. However, in the United States, 6 meter and 10 meter repeaters are rare. And the problem is, and with the 10 meters and 6 meters, you can sometimes get some interesting DX. But these little radios that they sell, 4-band radios, are FM only. So that doesn't really get you on 10 meters. Now, let's see, I was going to say something about that. I have been told that there are 10 meter and 6 meter repeaters. I have never even heard one. So I'll just have to take their word for it that they're out there. But of course, 2 meters and 70 centimeters, they have one of my wife's favorite words, a plethora of them. So, okay, now let's see. Randall, KR5 Triple E, howdy from Texas, y'all. Glenn Martin. Now, y'all is singular. It's all y'all that's plural. Glenn Martin says, thanks, Dave. Got the DX book. He got that in the live stream last week. Leo says, I was rereading an old QST and saw an offer from ICOM that included airfare, lodging, and access to the Japanese Hamfest. Man, I sure could have gotten into that. Oh, that would be a lot of fun. That was obviously a prize for somebody. Yeah, they would do things. 2017, wow. Sean, KM6 NFO, has added a super chat. Says, for $10, crazy windy here in Sacramento. Thanks for all the great help. They're great info, Dave. Good to talk to you on HF a couple weeks ago. 73 to all. I did something stupid. I put together QSL cards for all the people I talked to and sent this out with a stamp. Now you can see instantly what the problem is. I did not put the address on it. And so KE0OG, I will get this to you in an envelope. Okay, so I've got QSL cards right now. I'm still getting into the swing of how to send those. But the idea is that for everybody I talk to on the live stream, I will send them a QSL card. You can reply if you want to. I will eventually someday, but maybe not for a year or two, get all this stuff up on Logbook of the World. I am so far behind on Logbook of the World, a couple of years at least. Get this stuff up on Logbook of the World, but I will send out the paper QSLs. These can be printed for, these happen to come from Vistaprint, which is the big internet printer. But these aren't true postcard size, but there they are. And it's sort of a typewriter theme to it. And then I actually, using the same typewriter, type in the information on the back. Okay, let's see. Okay, he says, good to talk to you on HF a couple weeks ago, and 73 are best wishes to all. And 2 people have liked that so far. Very good. Leo Gustafsson. I was sent on a mission at 17. The old man got tired of my shenanigans, so he emancipated me and had the Marine recruiters come to the house. Next thing I knew, I was on a jet flying south. Oh, yeah. My dad went into the Navy in 1942 at the age of 17. He had been involved in the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was run along military lines, very much a military barracks type of a housing situation. He had a problem with his father. He was actually raised by a family friend, and he went back to see his father long enough. The story in the family is that he lied about his age and joined the Navy at the age of 17. That is not true. I have found documentary proof showing otherwise. And that is, I have a copy of the letter that George Joseph Casler, gave to Alfred Alwyn Casler, giving his permission for Dad to join at age 17. So it was all above board, and he joined and primarily fought in the South Pacific. So actually, he and I almost crossed paths. He was in Tacloban on the island of Ormoc in the Philippines, and I was in, the city on the other side of, there was a big seabed, Leyte Island, and he was in Tacloban, and I was on the other side of the island. We never actually crossed paths. Came very close. I suppose I should have just taken a bus over there so I could say, hey, Dad. It doesn't look much different so many years later, so we'll see. Okay, but yes, I can understand that, Leo. Doug Dry, hello. Doug is the one who is giving service to this beautiful dial telephone right here, which I actually used today. It works. And so I have a dial telephone there. It's just cool. It's sort of like going with my old radios up here, too. I've got a radio, a Helicrafters, that I'm pretty sure is older than this phone, but the phones would not have been much different from that. When I was young, we had a dial telephone, and there was a dial set in the base, but all the guts of it was in another box attached to the wall. That's where the actual ringer was. So, quite interesting. Okay, Doug, this is David and Augie's from Doug. KD4NC, 75 degrees today in Kennesaw. And something popped up here in Kennesaw, Georgia. Silvermine 203, an extra comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Leo, Buddy Pole has a rotator in development for their Buddy Hex beam. I am standing by for this. It hooks right in place of the hand crank. Well, that's very nice. Now, the big deal about Buddy Pole's hex beam is that it's portable. Okay, so now by portable, I mean you're going to take a while putting it up. So anyway, Chris Ritchie, I want to make a J-pole antenna, but a little different. I want the tuning to be done on the Cooper tubing, where there would be 2 croupiers on the tubing instead of moving the feed point. Watch my video on how J-poles work. And after you have viewed that, I want you to rethink what you're doing and see if it'll still work. Okay? The thing is that the bottom portion where you have the 2 tubes is a quarter wave length matching transformer. Because it's shorted at the bottom at 0 ohms, and since it's a quarter wavelength, you get to the max voltage point and minimum current point at the other end of it, and that is an extremely high impedance point. And so that's where they attach the end of a half-wave dipole. It is an end-fed half-wave dipole. And the impedance matching, what we now do with the 49-to-1 unon, the impedance matching is done with a transmission line stub. Now that brings up the question, could you do that on HF? And the answer is absolutely, you can. In fact, MFJ makes some of these. Okay, now we're going to get on the air here. Planning a quarter wave inverted L for 80 meters CW. Feed point on ground or elevated at about 2 meters. Worried about noise and takeoff angles. KE0OG in snowy Louisville, Colorado. I used to live in Louisville, Colorado, not Louisville. And I have a daughter and a son there. And I actually lived in 4 different houses while I was there, the whole time I was there. It's when the kids were little. And this is Forrest's 3rd Super on a live stream. So congratulations to you. Now I'm going to jump all the way down here to Optical Man Jeff. Who had, oh, I didn't mention that Forrest added $5 to the chat revenue. And Optical Man Jeff has added $15 to the chat revenue. Says, thanks, Dave, for all you do for the ham community and all of us here on the live stream. Well, thank you very much. And Leo Gustafsson has added $10 to the chat revenue. Says, thank you, Dave, for your excellent live stream and your great responses in QST. And as I mentioned, I spent much of the day dealing with the idea that I had answered a question erroneously. And I didn't think so. But this guy was a true engineer. He's my peer reviewer for this month. And he made some wild suggestions without telling me why. But there was, we were exchanging emails pretty much all day. And he had a phrase in one of his emails, and I went, aha, I understand my mistake. And it was an odd little phrase. It had to do with Z rotating. Z is the impedance vector, and it rotates as it goes down the coax. So the magnitude stays the same, and it's the magnitude that's important for SWR. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get on the air and see what we can find in the way of something here. Turn that off and turn that on. Is that better? Okay. All right, now we've got to switch to D. This is the big IR. Is this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? Not hearing anything. We are going to be on 7 7212. Okay, 7212 kilohertz. Okay, there it is. 7212. Now the band doesn't sound all that good to me tonight, so we'll see what we get. Today is the, in UTC, it's the 15th of March, and it's 0156 UTC. This is KE0OG, Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf, doing a few calls as part of a non-monetized YouTube video. And so I'm saying QRZ, is there anybody watching the live stream who'd like to talk on the radio? Come now, please. I'm not hearing anything. Are you hearing anything? CQ, DE, Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf, KE0 Oscar Golf, trying to get something going on 40 meters as part of the live stream. Anybody there? Victor Echo 5 again? Victor Echo 5, please come again. Let me try that again. I didn't get him. I got the Victor Echo 5 and then didn't catch the rest. CQ. This is KE0OG, Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf. CQ, anyone out there listening? Come now. Okay, Victor Echo 5, Foxtrot Delta Tango. Here's KE0OG, name here is Dave, located in southwestern Colorado. You are about a good 5x7, really, even though there's a lot of static. And so back to you, go ahead. Victor Echo 5, Foxtrot Delta Tango. Are you there? Okay, I think everything's set up right. I'll try again. CQ, here's Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf. Go ahead.
Roger, Dave. This is my name's Art, and I'm in Wisconsin. I'm running a KE0OG at 300 watts.
Okay, is this Victor Echo 5, Foxtrot Delta Tango? Your Art with 300 watts, is that right?
That's correct, yes. I can barely make you out, Dave, but I'm assuming you're getting me over.
Okay, I was giving you a 5x7. I think your 300 watts is helping a lot. I should probably slip down and turn on the amplifier myself. So what is your name and where are you?
I'm in Wisconsin, a town called Aspen, just north of the North Dakota border. Over.
Okay, North Dakota. And what kind of station do you have there?
And I'm running on the amplifier here at about 400 watts. Over.
Okay, I think I have my amplifier on now. And yeah, the system shows that the amplifier's on. So I hope you can hear me a little bit better there. Thank you very much for your call. And I'm going to say 73 and turn it back to you for a final and see if we can work someone else. Victor Echo 5, Foxtrot Delta Tango, Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf.
Roger, Dave, 73, and I appreciate you coming back to me. And I enjoy your live stream and everything you do in Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And 73. QRZ, this is Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf. The Kilo November 6 station, please.
Yeah, very good, David. Kilo November 6, Kilo Hotel Victor, 90 watts from San Jose, California.
90 watts from San Jose. Wow. I've been to San Jose many times. I used to work with the Lockheed contingent up there. I'd go up once a week and spend the day. Go up once a week from Southern California. So, tell me your name and what kind of station you're running.
I'm running a 7300 icon now, and I'm using N-fed half wave, N-fed half wave, and I watched a ton of your videos. You've been very helpful, by the way. I purchased a lot of the equipment that you've reviewed, everything from, I don't know, sharp, the ham sticks all the way through, you name it, the Wolf River coils. You've always steered me in the right direction, so thank you for all the work you do, man. It's great to actually speak to you directly. KN6, KHB.
Okay, is this KN6 KHB? Did I get the right call? Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much. 73 to you, and appreciate you coming in there, and glad that you we got through. This sounds like the band's not very good tonight. So let's try it again. QRZ. Here's Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf. The Foxtrot Lima station.
Kilo Delta 9, Juliet Foxtrot Lima.
Kilo Delta 9, Juliet Foxtrot Lima. Here's Kilo Echo Zero Oscar Golf. You've got a nice 5x9 signal here. And name is Dave, located in southwestern Colorado. And back to you. Tell me about yourself there. Again, there's all the space about for your film. I'm located in Madison, Illinois. That's about 25 miles south of Chicago. Okay, very good. Close to Chicago then. Yeah, the signal came down that time around. I am using my amplifier. And let's see if I can get this thing to read. I got to put it on the 3 kilowatt scale, so I'm putting about 450 watts out or something like that. So, thank you very much. I'm going to say 73 and turn it back to you for a final. And so go ahead. Okay, thank you very much. 73 to you too. QRZ from Kilo Echo Zero, Oscar Golf. I think I heard a Tango Alpha in there. Tango Alpha. Okay, the Tango Alpha, did I get you right? Could you come again with your call a little slower? No, I guess we didn't get Tango Alpha. So QRZ?
Whiskey 1, Juliet Golf Mike.
Whiskey 1, Juliet Golf Mike, KE0OG. That call sounds familiar. So tell me about yourself. You've got a nice 5.9 signal here. Hopefully it'll last into western Colorado. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Dave. We're working barefoot tonight. And this is a little bit of a temporary shack while I redo my main shack. So, first of all, I do want to say thank you for putting on all of these podcasts. We really appreciate them. And we do tend to watch every week. Other than that, the band is pretty noisy up here in Connecticut, and I hope you didn't get all that snow that they were talking you, Dave.
Okay, very good. Tell me your name again one time. Go ahead.
The name here is John, Juliet, Oscar, Hotel November. Whiskey 1, Juliet, Golf 1.
Okay, thanks a bunch. I appreciate that, John. I have the kind of memory that if I'm looking up a call on QRZ, I have to do it twice. I do the prefix and the number, and then I do the suffix in another glance. I can't even remember that much, but that's not old age. It's always been that way. I think what happened is before the good Lord created us, I was supposed to be in line to get a memory, but I forgot to get in line, so I never did get one. Anyway, your signal's very nice here, and you're a regular. I greatly appreciate your support, and your barefoot station is doing fine tonight. I read something about a radio blackout a couple days ago, so that may be what's going on here. So, let me see. I need to move the power down to 62. Otherwise, I'm going to overdrive the amplifier here. So I'm going to say 73 to you and back to you for a final.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thanks for the report out there to Colorado. Certainly appreciate it. And please keep up this very, very good work with the podcast and also the articles in
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much, John. So, QRZ, this is Kilo Echo Zero, Oscar Golf. Okay, the Whiskey Tango station, Whiskey Tango. Give me your prefix again.
Whiskey X-ray.
Whiskey X-ray 5, Foxtrot, Whiskey Tango. I'm just going to note the time here. And the name here is Dave, Southwestern Colorado. You're doing about a 5x5. There's a lot of noise on the channel this evening, and I'm running an amplifier. So, back to you. Tell me about yourself and what you got there. Okay, very good. Got the Hustler 4B TV. The band is up and down. I'm running a vertical, just a plain vertical. Well, not a plain vertical, it's a step-by-R vertical. It's a very fancy vertical, but it's still a vertical nonetheless. Anyway, very nice to talk to you from Oklahoma this evening. I hope you guys are not in the path of all those tornadoes that we keep hearing about. The snow in Colorado, by and large, went east over to Denver, and not very much at all here. We got, I think, 4 to 6 inches, but it's been melting about as fast as it's coming down. So, back to you for a final, and I'll say 73. Okay, well, 73, and thank you for jumping in here. QRZ, this is Kilo Echo Zero, Oscar Golf. Okay, I heard Delta Romeo Alpha. Come again, please. Romeo Delta Alpha. Okay, got it this time. Name here is Dave, South Colorado. You're about a 5x5, pretty scratchy. So tell me about yourself. Go ahead. Did I lose you? It was either Romeo Delta Alpha or Delta Romeo Alpha. Please come back.
I think you heard me. That's Kilo India 4 Delta Romeo Alpha. Over.
Okay, Kilo India 4 Delta Romeo Alpha. Tell me about yourself, your name, and so on.
Sure. Nice to talk to you again, Dave. My name is David. I'm in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I'm talking to you on a race to the FTX10. My antenna is a non-resident multi-band loop. It's 450 ohms ladder line. I live in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, which is about 15 miles or so east of Nashville. Over.
Okay, east of Nashville. That FTDX10 is doing a great job. I've used loops before too. They're great antennas, and you get a good tuner with them, and they really pump out the signal. So very nice to meet you. I'm going to have to make this my last QSO here so I can properly close out the live stream. And David, it's been good talking with you. I'm going to say 73. Back to you for a final, and then I'm going to beat QRT. Okay, thank you very much. KI4, Delta Romeo Alpha, here's Kilo Echo 0, Oscar Golf, and I will be QRT. Woo, that was a lot of static. So I hope it helped a little bit to aim it over here so you could see what I was doing. I do have a top on my head. There it is. It blows occasionally, but you know. There we go. So, let's see. Leo Gustafson, $10. Thank you, Dave, for your excellent live stream and your great responses in QST. We went 7212, not hearing anything. That's interesting. Lots of noise. Yes, there was a tremendous amount of noise. Band conditions were terrible tonight. Is that RF in the live feed audio or speaker he has in the shack? That's the speaker in the radio. I should find a way to mix it in with the audio here. That'd be better. That would be RFI on the live stream because he's running his amplifier. Oh dear. I am sorry about that. Static has been bad all day on 40. Hope you're feeling 100% soon. Thank you. The noise on the stream audio was not there until the amp was turned on. Dave Hope as well. Dave Haynes, it was an honor to work you. Dave, your 300 watts is doing a fine job. Leo, I just had a $1,500 plumbing job done, so the budget for the ICOM PW2 amp took a hit. Oh, gosh. I realize I'm no longer... It's really hard for me to do mechanical work. But doggone it, I know how. I just hate to pay other people to do something I know how to do myself. But I'm of an age where I kind of have to do that. Okay, Leo out, sorry. Great week, Dave. That's the way it goes sometimes. At least the interconnects for the spreaders on the hex beam were affordable. Good. 73 Dave and everyone, have a nice evening. Yes, okay. Ooh. Lots of static. I think your live on air part of live stream is the best part of the show. Well, thank you all very much. I'm going to say 73 to everybody. It is always a joy to come here and not only talk to you electronically, but also via the magic of radio. So, until we next meet, 73.